Doing a prayer.
Welcome, everybody, to another Rev Talk. I think we have an interesting discussion coming up on, are we going to reclaim our silence or should we reclaim our silence? Take it away, Reverend Kim.
I was waiting. I'm not going to be silent about being thrown under the bus again.
I like to add to what you're saying.
Yes, I know you do. You like to play it safe.
Mhm.
Let's see what she says, and then I'll.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one was
Okay.
kind of a stumper for me a bit. Because I'm not quite sure. First, we started out talking about silence is golden, and then I'm thinking, well, is it? Is it? You know, of course, when we say that, we're actually talking about maybe children that might be a little noisy when you say silence is golden. And then we, proceeded to talk about reclaiming our silence. There is, like Reverend Beverly and I were talking about, there's a lot of tension going on right now. Well, it's been going on, obviously. It feels like it's building and building, and people have short fuses, and there's a lot of noise out there. And do we add to that noise, or do we reclaim our silence by establishing our boundaries and saying, okay, it's kind of a, choose your battles kind of thing, where you set your boundary. Okay, I'm this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, this is what I agree to. And somebody gets into your face and says, they want to argue or whatever, you have that opportunity to reclaim your silence, hold your boundaries. You don't need to defend yourself to someone with your boundaries. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't even need to communicate any of that with anybody. Unless you feel so strongly. And even then, I kind of suggest, again, reclaim your silence. Take that pause and think, is this really a discussion that I want to get into? Is it really worth, an argument or a
There you go.
loud
I, I,
conversation?
I think a lot of times we don't say anything because we don't want to get in an argument or we don't know our facts, how they should be, because you've got double facts on both sides. But what I've found is by reclaiming my silence, I'm able to sit back and observe.
Mhm.
And your boundaries have been set, so you're not dishonoring your true self. And you're able to see just where this conversation is going. And 9 out of 10 times, if you don't add fuel to that conversation, it stops.
Yes.
And I learned that on my last trip because I totally disagreed with probably 90% of everything people were talking about. But by sitting back, I could neutralize how I felt and why I was so strong on the opposition, and yet be able to see why they felt so strongly in their position. And it gives you the reality to realize silence is golden because I would never have saw their point of views.
Right.
I would have said mine are the highway. And now I understand why people are so resistant to change, because change makes you stop and realize it's for the betterment, but you don't want to do it. And that's in all situations. We always say, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go here. Well, why? It's a change. You're not in your little cocoon where you're used to going, and you're going to absorb all new energies. And what are you going to do? But by retaining that silence, you can listen to all that and choose your own path. And I think it's really important to reclaim that silence and don't feel that you have to speak up and explain how you feel or what should be done, because it's not. It's reclaiming your identity within yourself.
Yes, it's reclaiming your sovereignty as to
Yes.
who you are. If you choose to have a discussion with somebody, that's your choice. And remember, going into it, it is your choice. Now, I have of late been reminded not to overshare or not to share, period, with certain people. I learned that the hard way again, that when I share certain things, that's used against me later on. I fell back into that pattern, and I fully accept the responsibility that I walked into that. I opened the doors and walked right through. And, I claim that it was a good learning experience. It also allowed me to be more silent, to reclaim my silence when I was being aware. And that's, I think, part of it as well. Being in the now gives you that opportunity of choosing to be silent and like you said, looking at other people's points of view and understanding where they're coming from, what's driving them, what's motivating them. And you don't have to say anything at all. And that's your choice to set your boundary. If you choose to jump in and have a conversation, just understand that you understand that you've actually paid attention to their motivations. So if you walk in and you say something, it might come back on you, but you also, fully accept the fact that, okay, yeah, I stepped in at that time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
reclaiming your silence isn't about compromise. It isn't about capitulating. It isn't about surrender. It isn't about giving up. It isn't about giving in. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty as to who you are as a person and making the choices that are best for you based on you listening to your intuition, you listening to your inner self, and that silence that's going to help guide you when we listen to it.
You made me think of, I realize in some situations where you meet people or talk with people, no matter what you say, it's not going to change them. And that's when silence is golden.
Yes.
Then they can't come back and dig at you.
Yes. Yes.
You'll get there, I'll get there. We're all there. We're all human.
We all get there. Yes, we do. And eventually, that's an old pattern, that keeps reminding me that I'm still here. I still have work to do. It's a good thing, though, to be reminded and to claim your silence and to reclaim your sovereignty and to set your boundaries and to stick with them, and nothing has to be a battle. If you look at it
No,
as it's
yeah, it doesn't.
battle, it doesn't, but it doesn't have to be that way. You stay silent and observe, and 9 times out of 10, like you said, it kind of stops that conversation or that behavior, which is a good thing.
It is.
I love that. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me of that. So with that, my friends, we want to thank you for joining us on another Rev Talk. We want to remind you to be gentle with yourself and to be kind to yourself, and to remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.